Hello, fellow scholars and purveyors of morbid curiosities alike. I'm Dr. Caleb, joined by the capitalist pig, Dr. Zach.
Oink.
And this is SCPod. Zach, how are you today?
Dreadfully sober. How are you?
I feel like we've done this bit before, honestly. Where I said dreadfully unsober, and then you said, oh, you should check your water or something like that.
You know, it's just as true now as it was then.
The time is a flat circle, people. That's what we've learned here on SCPod.
Reggie Ledoux
as
will
well
die
as
countless
multiple ways
times.
of putting our exactly. So, yeah, this is it's been a little bit. A little look behind the scenes. We recorded a few episodes, and then we got hit with we were right in the middle of testing the Gate Guardian, and it only destroyed our computers.
Specifically,
that's what we're gonna say. That's what we're gonna go with.
And specifically, it deleted Audacity, and it made us so that we forgot Audacity existed.
Exactly.
And so there were several episodes where we quote unquote recorded, but we were just having a normal conversation. And so those are the lost episodes, which you'll never get to hear.
Exactly. Unless you guys blow us up, I will make it a Patreon incentive. Nothing from the the peanut stand, the peanut gallery.
Absolutely not.
So Zach, we're back. We're bigger than ever, or something like that.
We're not.
What are we covering? What are we doing for our first episode back?
Well, we're not dead, as far as it can be proven. But this week we're talking about someone that you and I have talked about a lot off mic, and it's kind of one of our favorite ones. It is SCP-1006 or 1006, Communist Spiders.
Yes. Specifically, the title is Spider Proletariat, but Communist Spiders just has a better ring to it, honestly. So yeah, let's just crack this bad boy open and trigger some arachnophobia, shall we?
You need a bird break.
All right. Well, what's up?
You needed a break from the birds.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody triggers my birdophobia. I always forget what ornithophobia, I think is what it's called.
Oh.
But now we get to. I mean, I don't know. I don't even think the photo for this episode is going to have a picture of a spider. So, anyway, SCP-1006, Object Class, Safe. Special containment procedures are as follows. SCP-1006 is contained within a 213-meter radius within a national park and should be checked bi-weekly. By the way, RIP National Parks.
RIP.
Civilian access is to be denied by means of an endangered species cover story. Relocation of SCP-1006 is strongly discouraged due to fragility of individual members and their sensitivity to habitat changes. Observation Post 45 has been set up within the containment zone and supplies SCP-1006 with various audiobook versions of communist and classical literature at SCP-1006's request, as well as black ink and a poster board as necessary. All personnel entering the containment zone are required to wear Level C hazardous materials protection due to presence of fine particulate contaminants. Upon departure, a standard decontamination procedure, as per document FSP-0371-B-D-B-07, is to be undertaken to prevent uncontrolled spread of SCP-1006.
Description: SCP-1006 is an organized collective of an unknown species of the genus Arrhenius. Individual members have achieved sapience through unknown means and have established a rudimentary system of government resembling Marxist communism. The original mass of SCP-1006 was discovered on April 1st in the 1900s by a hiking couple who alerted the park authorities. The Foundation took over after the discovery of written propaganda inside the central web. along with evidence of a marked use of extremely simple tools, webs resembling faces of passerby, and simple attempts to block off the area via fallen branches. SCP-1006 is a social community with some members maintaining the web and others apparently chosen to maintain the agenda of the, quote, whole. Once supplied a source of black ink and poster sheets, SCP-1006 will communicate with humans by creating signs written in English. These communications are largely centered around demands for the dismantling of Western imperialism, a scathing critique of the bourgeoisie, and a request for less mosquito spraying in the surrounding area of the park. The, quote, head of the government is a large spider that resembles a wolf spider, taking up refuge in the largest tree of the cluster. Communication has been relayed with the spider, who views the outside world as, quote, something that belongs to us that is merely being maintained by the bourgeois humanoids, end quote. It has given its name as benevolent leader. SCP-1006, or 1006, is currently located in a cluster of black oak trees within a massive cluster and complex central web, and several secondary webs. The webs appear to be very well maintained, with damage being constantly repaired. The surrounding area has a nauseating odor due to the presence of thousands of dead insects, individual members of SCP-1006, and the occasional dead bird and small animal. Close study by arachnologists and sociologists have discovered that the members of SCP-1006 utilize a central collective think tank that passes on ideas of the benevolent leader to the collective numbers through complex frequencies of the web.
Alright, and there's an addendum here. The skeletal remains of a male human being were found in the area of the web, surrounded by dead insects and a variety of small shiny objects such as bottle caps and pebbles, along with the occasional pocket watch and bits of metal in apparent reverence. SCP-1006 does not allow the skeleton to be disturbed, but passive analysis indicates that the male died decades prior from blunt trauma to the back of the head. Identification located near the body identifies him as a known political radical, reported missing from the nearby town in Texas in 1976. And that's it. That's
it.
Short, sweet, to the point.
I really enjoy these, the shorter ones when we find them. So off the bat, we can assume that the guy is the one who caused this to happen, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it's like maybe he taught the spiders or you know what? I wonder if he had like the materials on him and the spiders learned how to read it.
I prefer to think of this some weirdo who's reading the spiders.
Like how the personnel read to the frogs. You just have this guy who's just reading to a bunch of spiders in a park.
Yeah, and then it's through the magic of whatever. It gave the spiders consciousness, specifically class consciousness. So this is
such a.
This guy is the Lenin to benevolent leaders Stalin.
Exactly. I can't think of the benevolent leader Spider without thinking of him having a Stalin mustache. So that
it doesn't say you don't.
That comparison just exactly. I love this one. It's so simplistic. It's just like, what if Charlotte's Web, but like communist?
But Charlotte wanted to seize the means of production.
Exactly.
Like Charlotte instigates Animal Farm. That would have been a much better book.
I wonder if that's like, yeah.
But like Charlotte still.
I have to wonder if that's like the.
You finish your thought. That'll finish mine.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I wonder if that's like the catalyst to this SCP being created. If somebody was like, read Charlotte's Web and Animal Farm back to back, and they were like, maybe I can combine these.
Right, like Charlotte is leading a revolutionary revolt and then dies with a Mosin Nagant in her little legs.
Exactly.
Right, like they hoist the red flag above the barn. Like they're conquering Berlin.
Oh man, yeah, that's good stuff.
I wonder what would happen though, like realistically, because I mean, it kind of raises the question of like, what would you rather fight, like a 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? In terms of like how dangerous this could be if they proliferated, and I really realistically wonder how many spiders are in that 213-meter radius. Because it's not a big space, but it's a big space if you're talking about tens of thousands of spiders.
It is interesting. I feel like spiders are kind of socially kind of isolationist
There are communal spiders.
by trade, right?
No, there are species of spiders that are.
There's communal spiders.
Yeah, there's a few species that will like build group webs. Like it's hard to gauge. Like I feel like objectively measuring intelligence is a very fraught road generally across across life. Because I feel like we don't really have a good idea of what intelligence really means when you're trying to measure it. But there are species of spiders that will produce webs like this photo in the file, that will just incorporate entire trees that consist of like thousands of little spiders that just kind of live together. I don't really know off the top of my head like what structure this is, like if it's like a queen situation or it just happens to be that there are a bajillion spiders in one spot that are okay with each other's life. Making them more or less anarcho-communist spiders. But this one's more in the storms. This one's example is more in the form of just straight state communism, which has more in common with like a totalitarian, like almost nearly autocratic, which we saw like with Stalin being the Vogt of the USSR before his death because people were too afraid to give him CPR.
True. It is interesting because they. The last paragraph of the description mentions that it's like a collective think tank that passes it on to the giant wolf spider.
Well, it's a wolf spider that passes on to the think tank or through the think tank.
Oh.
Yeah, because looking right here is
complex frequencies in the web.
Utilize a collective central think tank that passes on the ideas of the benevolent leader to the collective numbers.
Oh, okay, okay, I misread that.
It's easy to do, but no. So in this case, it's more of a definitely top-down structure, like we did see in the USSR, which is sort of the shorthand when we in the West are talking about communism, even that's not technically really what it was. And I realize this is kind of a long tangent and has really little to do with spiders, but we here on this show have used the word commie a lot to not talk about what that actually means. Like one very angry YouTuber pointed out months ago. Rip that guy. He knows what he did. But no, so communist thought and the way that we think about it now is that we assume that what we see is the end result, not realizing that communist doctrine is more utopian than anything. Realizing that that communism is the end goal, but there's a lot of processes you have to go through. So, like, capitalism was an evolved state from what we saw with feudalism back in the day, as part of a critical step on the path to communism. And what we saw in the USSR was very much like this weird interstitial period between capitalism as written and communism as defined. So it's really kind of worth pointing out that we haven't seen what a quote-unquote true communist government would look like, because I feel like the point of communism as a utopian idea wouldn't really have that, if that makes sense.
Yeah. To dumb it down a little bit, maybe I'm just dumbing it down for my own dumb self, but communism is its perfect form, and we have human error that makes it really hard to ever achieve a perfect form.
Kinda. It's also just like we have like tens of thousands of years of bad habits.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of things that would fight against that idea. Not to say that I necessarily like am a proponent of like straight communism. I don't think it's necessarily any more harmful than the capitalist hellscape we currently live in. But
Yeah, I'm more of a proponent of gay communism
I'm a fan.
than straight
I'm
communism.
a fan of gay communism. Um, you can clip that and post it wherever. I'm fine. I don't care anymore. Let them come. I am strapped and armed.
Oh, they're coming all right.
Yes, so am I. But no, I mean,
Our first episode back, and we've already ruined everything.
I don't care, man. It's been a weird couple of months. We don't have national parks.
Oh,
the
man.
national parks are going through the shitter. We have literally everything else going on right now. I can make a cum joke. That's fine. As a treat.
This one's for the boys.
But is it? But no, I mean, but all that's to say is like that's sort of like a very rudimentary rundown. There are people who spend like their entire academic careers like defining and studying communist thought, or just like leftist philosophy in general. I'm a natural contrarian, which means that I'm a little bit of an asshole. So I mean, there's problems to be there in terms of like what they're actually selling. But what we're seeing here with these spiders is definitely what we saw, or at least as described, is something we saw with the USSR, especially in the Stalinist era, with the quote-unquote benevolent leader, or the Vocht, or the father, which, Stalin called himself.
Yeah. Since we're on a history lesson here, can you describe proletariat and bourgeois?
So yeah, the proletariat is the working masses. So me, you, and probably the people listening to this right now. If you work for a living and you have to pay rent, you're a proletariat, member of the proletariat. Congratulations. And the bourgeoisie, you can think of it loosely as the owning class or the capitalist class, and this is kind of, I feel like, where a lot of people get mixed up on it, because the bourgeoisie, I feel like, philosophically applies more to the owning class. And I don't necessarily mean like your local small businesses, because those people have more in common with, the proletariat than they do with other members of the owning classes, because they often, especially like in, something like the food industry where the margins aren't great, you're not going to make millions typically by owning a single cafe or bookstore or what have you. We're talking more like, your Jeff Bezoses, your Elon Musks. Those are the bourgeoisie.
Your vanguards.
Yeah, at the time of Mark's writing, he was talking mostly about like industrialists of like J.P. Morgan Chase or J.P. Morgan, Andrew Carnegie, the guy who did the guy who started Krupp manufacturing in Germany, which probably would have been a more apt comparison for Marx because he was German. But yeah, so basically, proletariat means you work for a living. Owning classes mean that you own you own the means of production in the capitalist system.
Okay.
There's more to it. That's kind of the 201 description. That's kind of like the 101 description of that. And even that, it's not perfect.
For sure. But it gives us a decent idea of what's going on here. I think, I didn't expect to go into a huge history lesson or anything like that about, spiders with mustaches, but I think, it wouldn't be the first time that we go on a huge tangent about, even communism on this podcast.
Right, and I just feel like this was a kind of like weirdly the best time to bring up what it actually kind of means, even if we like just jokingly refer to it as a dumb joke half the time. Like, there is actual thought there. But kind of tying it back to what I was originally asking is, like, realistically, how many spiders are in this 213 meter radius? And how dangerous would they be if they actually got out? Because if I'm looking back at the description, it says that they are an unknown species of spider. But it does mention that the benevolent leader resembles a wolf spider, so I'm kind of wondering like what level of dimorphism or different polymorphism that the spiders would exhibit, because unless it's like a queen thing, because there are like, especially with arthropods, there's a precedent for quote unquote queens to be different, bigger, But we don't actually get a good description of what these spiders look like.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't catch on the fact that they're like an actual different species. It is interesting because it doesn't look like they're necessarily dangerous. It doesn't note anywhere about attacks on humans or anything like that. They're just very territorial. They're like, don't come into our spot. We won't come into your spot. We have our own space. Which I think is kind of draws those same parallels to, you know, the Red Scare kind of deal, where with the secret communist meetings and stuff like that. Like, they weren't plotting to overthrow the government or anything like that. They're just there to like spread their ideals.
Yeah, there's something to be said about, like, you know, in the world we ended up living in, where the communist philosophy was, you know, still somewhat and rather expansionistic. There are, you know, other timelines where that could have been a very different place. Like, you look at someone, what's his name? The guy who led the Mensheviks. Trotsky. Like, the Trotskyists were proponents of, like, violent expansionism. Like, literally starting, like, the class world war. Towards the after the Russian Revolution. And then the world we got was not necessarily that, while still being expansionistic. I feel like one of the major reasons why the USSR got as big as it did was that, you know, Europe was a vacuum, and with Europe being a vacuum, they had room to kind of go in because no one was really going to stop them, because you were more worried about Hitler. But also you have the post-war colonial collapse of England and France, which also led to, you know, communist revolutions there, because when you're a colonized area, you probably have more in common with, or you probably have more sympathies toward that philosophy than the one that has like been stepping on you for several hundred years.
Yeah.
With these guys, like, they don't even mention if the spiders are venomous.
That's true. That's true. I mean, I'm pretty sure most spiders are venomous, if I remember right. They just, like, some of them have more potent venom than others.
Right, but I mean, is the difference between, like, a mild allergic reaction and an itchy bump and, like, your skin melting off?
Right. I mean, like, you get bit by a tarantula, it's gonna hurt because you got bit, not because, like, there's venom coursing through your veins. Whereas, like, a brown recluse is not gonna hurt very badly, but, like, will melt your skin off.
Right.
So, yeah. I mean, it's, I will say, as somebody that hyperfixates a little bit on spiders and things like that, it takes a lot to kill a bird as a spider.
Right.
Even something like a wolf spider. So, you know, that's typically what the venom is used for, is, like, it might not be potent for you and I, but, like, a tarantula biting a cockroach or a mealworm or something, it's going to shut it down, its nervous system, pretty quickly.
That's a good point.
So, yeah, I mean, I think based off of just what they've said, like, an occasional dead bird is interesting, but that could just be, you know, starvation. It gets caught in the giant web and then starves to death or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But just based off of, like, no dead humans around or anything like that, I think it's kind of safe to say that they're not, like, outwardly venomous in the same way like a black widow would be.
Okay. I hear you. Like, we're definitely not their intended items.
Exactly. And you know what? It is kind of interesting. Spiders don't typically bite. You can handle spiders pretty easily without them, like, biting you.
Mm-hmm.
There's many videos you can watch on YouTube of, like, Coyote Peterson, like, handling brown recluses and black widows and stuff like that. And the guy's never been bit unless he, like, wants them to bite them. But usually it's only if they feel, like, outward pressure. And I think that that's actually, like, really cool to think about in regards to this SCP, because, like, they just want to be left alone, and spiders as a whole just want to be left alone as well, and they just want to do their thing, and they say they'll leave you alone if you leave us alone, and yeah, I think that that's a really cool parallel that I just realized.
Yeah, it's like it's sometimes like you don't realize something like when you read something until you like you start really like think out loud on it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And less mosquito spraying in the surrounding area of the park.
which is just reasonable.
Yeah, I mean, the ozone's not going to fix itself, guys.
I mean, also like if you're, especially if you're eating,
Or maybe it will.
especially if you're trying to eat mosquitoes.
True.
Like it's like if someone ran around Texas like putting like beef repellent, which I'm sure is a thing.
Exactly.
It has to be a thing.
I think, isn't that what PETA is?
No, PETA is just kind of depressing.
Yep.
Like,
Zach, what's your favorite arachnophobia setting in a video game?
I think there was one like an early mod for Skyrim where someone replaced the part of the texture of the spiders with bears, but because they didn't do something right, and so like the bears would like T-pose and like slide across the floor because they were still spiders. which ends up being like very much more terrifying, but for entirely different reasons. It's like a giant earth sign Roomba that are just like dangling from the ceiling like they're fucking Liberace. They're like but
oh man, I really like the Lethal Company version where the arachnophobia setting just turned the spider into a giant red word that said spider.
that is pretty great. Like I've been meaning to revisit Lethal Company because it's kind of a funny game. But when I first ran across that, I was like, oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. I was playing the new Monster Hunter a lot when it first came out, and they have a arachnophobia setting as well.
Mm.
And it doesn't turn any of the actual giant spiders. It doesn't do anything to them, but one of the spiders has like little spider dudes, and when you turn on the arachnophobia settings, they just turn into like little gray blobs.
Huh. So do you actually use you
Yeah.
use the arachnophobia settings? Because I don't.
No. I do like it's like a choose your own adventure thing where like I'm curious of it. Like there was definitely some stuff that went into it on the developer side, so I would like to see that. It's like the accessibility stuff. Like if they like, I'm not sure if this was a thing that actually happened, but I remember hearing on like the League of Legends forums about a character that when they killed you, it would sound like you're being dragged underwater.
Oh,
and it like really triggered some people, they were
yeah.
like requesting like an accessibility thing for that. And it always intrigues me. It's like, oh, what are the workarounds for this kind of stuff? As somebody that's really only afraid of one thing on planet Earth, and that happens to be the most plentiful species that I see every single day, I don't have very many like phobias inside of video games or anything, but it's interesting. I'm like, oh, like how do they handle an arachnophobia setting? How do they handle like an overabundance of blood and like a blood setting in a video game?
Right, because I know that Fallout, the series, when it's gone internationally, have had some censoring. Like in Germany, like they turn off dismembering, and have reduced gore content across the board. So probably just by removing the texture from the game. But here's a question for you, Caleb. Say it's your birthday. Happy birthday! But you get your wish, the one wish you've always had, the only one that really matters to you, and games come out across the board and have an ornithophonia setting and the accessibility options. What does this look like?
Replace the wings with arms.
Are they jacked?
Yeah, they're jacked ass birds. I don't even care if they're flying. Like, I have no problem with like a dragonfly.
Uh-huh.
But get rid of the wings. Maybe get rid of the beaks as well.
Okay, what do you replace the beaks with?
Nothing.
Can you unpack that a little bit more?
I'm talking like, imagine a bird.
Yeah.
Imagine what you think of a bird.
Easily done.
Like if you're imagining a pigeon in your head.
I can do this all day.
Sitting there. Now get rid of its wings. It's got 2 jacked arms.
Yeah.
Like cartoonily jacked arms, and remove its beak completely.
Okay, so what's it? What?
And it's just like a cone of a head.
It's just like a bowling pin. Top of
And eyes.
It's like just the top of a bowling pin.
Yes.
So
Yes.
no mouth.
Immediately, birds are so much more easily accessible for me.
But what are you gonna do, like when these jacked birds with these jacked mouthless birds, are at the perfect length, perfect height to just like punch you in the knee and or balls?
I mean,
You have created a new monster,
so
sir.
if they're still able to fly, that does.
They're just flying with.
If they're still able to fly, that does create its own problem. But if they can't fly, they're at punting height. It'd be like if a fucking toddler came up and did it to me. But like they have hollow bones.
But like, it doesn't matter if they have hollow bones. Like if they're just straight up jacked, like sailors' arms in like in the 1800s. Like.
Yeah.
Like you're just gonna get like tossed around like a strong man, but it's gonna be like a seagull.
It's gonna be fucking Hulk throwing around Loki at the end of Avengers, but it's a fucking pigeon.
And I want to point out for the height, like for the audience, like Caleb is like well over 6 feet tall. So imagine like this like 1.5 foot tall bird.
1.5 feet tall is gigantic for a bird, by the way.
It's a goose.
Oh my god, I don't even want to think about. Wait,
Imagining
now that I'm thinking about the goose without a beak, though, they are so much less terrifying.
you.
I really think the beaks and wings just make them like okay, yes, there are now these monsters that are maybe flying around through the power of, I don't know, farting or something.
Swole.
And yeah, and like okay, but like random crazy people exist that could also just walk up to me on the street and punch me.
Right.
But I don't have to look at a bird anymore. I'm looking at whatever fuck abomination I created.
Right. So like, what do they look like when they are flying? Because right now I'm just imagining them as like T-posing through the air.
I'm almost thinking like they glitch out. Like it's like they no clip.
It's like you're standing on a physical item in a source game.
Exactly. I'm like imagining like all these birds are like ready to go. They have like the Mortal Kombat like stationary like fighting style. This dukes up. Mm-hmm. And then when they're flying, like their animation pauses and they just like just move.
Like you're dragging something through Photoshop.
Exactly.
So I mean, okay, so we have these wingless, mouthless birds that are jacked that can T-pose through the air. They still don't. It doesn't change the fact that they're still angry birds. And like I don't know.
It's true, but the two things that scare me the most about the birds are gone.
So it's really just the wings and the beak.
Yes.
Okay, I understand you now in a different way than I did when we.
Because I have no problem. I have no problem with like a bug flying around me. Like I'm gonna like swat it away or something like that. But like I don't duck. I don't like freak out.
Right. Caleb, I understand you in a very different way than before we started this call.
For the folks at home, Zach really loves to prey on my ornithophobia and really likes to like just like put little things around like when we play D&D or something. Mm-hmm. And I'm terrified of what he's going to do with this information.
Like, I don't really think I will, to be honest. Like, not to show all my, not to show all my cards here, but it's like, it's just like a really weird, like, huh. I would have never have guessed.
Yeah, what can I say? It's really just, I mean, I do think that there is something to be said about maybe their feet, but, I'm visualizing all the attacks of birds that have happened to me, in my past. And I think the thing that fucked me up the most were the wings and the beak, and that's what scares me the most.
Okay, I hear you.
Like, obviously, I've been attacked by a chicken, and it like cut me up with its fucking talons. But, I mean, if I were to get rid of bird talons, I'd also have to get rid of my cat's talons too.
Right. Critical question, Dr. Caleb.
Yes.
Buffalo wings.
You know what? I'm really not a fan.
I praise you for your consistency.
it has nothing to do with birds whatsoever. I'm just not a fan of wings.
Says you. I think as evidenced by this conversation, I think
true.
you do. Well, that was enlightening.
Yeah. How did we lose the plot?
I don't think we lost the plot at all, to be honest. I feel like we talked about communism, we talked about spiders, and then we talked about wings.
True. And you know what? We are a horror podcast. We did talk about our deepest, darkest fears.
I didn't, but hey.
You talked about capitalism.
That's not a fear, that's a deep, abiding hatred. I ain't fucking scared of it.
Fair enough. Well, yeah. What else is there to say about the spider proletariat? I love this SCP. I think it's really fun. I like how short and sweet it is, and it leaves a little bit of the mystery to it. Like, who is this Chad communist who taught the spiders how to overthrow the government?
Fucking legend.
I think it's pronounced Lenin, but
Lenin.
Tomato, I guess.
So, listeners, be the change you want to be on the world. Go radicalize a social animal near you.
Exactly. Well, and also I think it's a really bad sign of things when the spiders feel like they have to change the world.
Yeah, like, I don't really blame them.
With that being said, Zach, where can people find your anarchy writing, or archaic writing? I don't know. What's the best descriptor?
I don't know. I typically write horror, and they can find my stuff over at www.makeawritingcheck.blogspot.com. I post stuff there twice a month, and by the time this comes out, will be towards the mid to late end of summer. Keep an eye out for spooky season, and I will be doing my annual mini-series in October, so keep an eye out for that.
Awesome. You can find more of me on Twitter and Instagram at Calica1738. Or I run another podcast as well with friends of mine who we just play Yu-Gi-Oh! That's what we do. We play a children's card game, and we talk about it, and we get really heated, and yeah, it's a great time. So if you like, I'm the host over there, and so if you kind of like the humor that we put on over here, it's very much on show over there. And if you are at all interested in Yu-Gi-Oh!, that's going to be Resurgence YGO on YouTube, and the podcast is called Anything in Standby. So yeah, that's my stuff. You can also follow the podcast as I scroll up. You can follow this podcast on Twitter at SCPod_cast. I don't update that very often. You can follow us on Instagram at SCPod.cast. I do update that one often. We're available on Spotify and YouTube. Please remember to like, rate, follow, subscribe, throw money our way. We don't have a way of you throwing money at us, but if you just like cram a dollar bill into your phone speaker, I've heard that works.
We'll get it.
Yeah. If not, we'll come to Samsung or Apple and demand our money. Anyway, that is all we got for today's episode. Zach, what are we covering next time?
Next time it is a surprise.
That's true. I actually have no idea what we're covering next week either, guys. Yeah, so that's all we got. And finally, Zach, how do we mean to seize the means of production?
You know, Caleb, do me a favor and be grateful for yourself.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.